All right, welcome back. Part two of the budget drag car. In part one, I said in part two that we would fix the floor and the frame rail and go over new parts. Well, go over the parts that we've acquired. The more I think about it, that would just be an extremely long video. So what I'm going to do here is we'll just go over the parts that we've acquired so far, and there's a couple of videos I want to do as a precursor to fixing the floor. I want to do a video on a bead roller, and I want to do another video on welding sheet metal, just some basic stuff, just some need to know stuff. That way, on the video where we're repairing the floor, if someone new stumbles across that video, there will be a reference video for them to go back to. Anyway, so I got my notebook. On any project, new project, whatever, it's a good idea to keep a notebook. It doesn't have to be a 3-ring binder or anything like that. It just could be a spiral notebook. That's usually what we use at work, is just spiral notebooks. But in this case, we got a 3-ring binder, and I've got it divided up into sections. Well, we've got a to-do section, a things we need section, a wish list. I mean, you know, there's stuff you need, and then there's stuff you wish you had. Then we got one for expenses, because on this one, we're really keeping up with the price total on this. So, and then another one is just notes. And it's really important to have a notes section on a project. When you're taking one apart, you may find out that some things come apart in a certain order, and whenever you go back together with that, you may not remember that, and you may not remember that order. But if you've taken notes, if you've written that down, then you can go back and check that, and it'll save a lot of waste of time and a lot of headaches. Another thing, sure is busy today. I live out in the middle of nowhere, so there's not a lot of traffic. So since I've started shooting this, there's been 2 cars or 3 cars. There was one came by right before I hit record. Anyway, another thing that is very important to have, and that is Ziploc bags or resealable bags, whatever you want to call them. Whenever you're taking something apart, let's say you're pulling a fender off, you take that fender off and throw every bolt and every shim, every nut, whatever is a part of that fender, put it in a bag, and then label that bag. Put, right front fender. And then I usually just grab a cardboard box and I just throw all the bags in that. That way, you know where all the bolts are. It seems like back in the day, people used to throw nuts and bolts and stuff in an old coffee can or mason jar or something like that, and it's a lot of waste of time when you go back to put something together, because you're not going to remember. When you take it apart, you may think you're going to remember where every nut and bolt goes, That's hard to say, but chances are you're not. I mean, it only takes a few days, and you got no idea what this nut's for. So anyway, so that's just a little tech tip, I guess you could say. Okay, so all right, yeah. Now, what we've gotten so far. Well, let's just start with the car. Got a dog walking around in there. So the first obvious thing is the car. Well, we got that for $500, okay? And which $500 with a title, I mean, I think that was a pretty good deal. Next thing we got was a pair of mufflers. Now, I despise Flowmasters, but if you like Flowmasters, that's your thing, that's cool, I don't care. But I'm tired of them. Now, these aren't Flowmasters, but they are a knockoff of them. And these came off of a project at work. It's a 2.5-inch inlet and outlet, which is going to work good for us. And what works even better is they were free, because he went with a different set of mufflers and didn't want these. So it's hard to argue with free. All right, next on the list. It's actually a package deal. Hang on, we got these. And this intake. Now, this is a set of unequal length shorty headers. They're 1 5/8 primaries, and they are BBKs. I got this and this 4-barrel intake, and this was off of an 84 GT is what this is off of. So it's a little. Someone has done some a little bit of smoothing, gotten rid of some casting numbers and stuff like that, and did some polishing on it to make it look decent. Now I know this isn't a high performance piece, and that's okay right now. As I said in part 1, I mean, we're not looking to set the world on fire right now. Right now I want to get something together that's fun for him to learn on, because like I said, he's 13, and I don't want to get him in something that is out of control. So yeah, I know it's not a high performance piece. The runners are extremely tiny, but I mean, hey, we can make it work. It's a 4-barrel intake. Anyway, so I picked up this and the headers. Let's see. Yeah, okay. That was $300. Now, I know that's not, a super killer deal, but I think it's fair. I mean, for some reason, the prices on these intakes, if you look on eBay and stuff like that, they're really high, and I haven't had much luck finding used headers, especially like 1 5/8. I found some of the factory headers, it's 1.5 inch primaries, for about the same money that I paid for these. So anyway, I think it's a fair deal. Next, we needed a carburetor, and did score this carburetor. It's Holley 4160, so it's got a vacuum secondary. It needs a rebuild. So that was $25 for that. So 600. Did I say that? 600 CFM, which is what I was wanting to go with. That's what I was looking for, was a 600. And I'm no carburetor expert, but the way it was always put to me is whatever your cubic inches is, double that, and that's about what size CFM carb you want to run, unless we're talking a really high performance application, which we're not. Like I said, we're not there yet. Well, since it needs a rebuild, picked up a quick fuel rebuild kit, and I picked up a Holley diaphragm for the vacuum secondary. The rebuild kit was $22, and the vacuum secondary was $13. Anyway, so that's not too much. I think anyway, I think that's a fair deal. I'm gonna leave that. Also, we picked up, now this wasn't necessary, but I wanted them. I was looking for these. The 302 we're going to be using is a 68 model, and the valve covers are on a 68 stamped steel, and they say powered by Ford, and I like them. I think they look kind of neat, but sitting in a 95 Mustang, I know it's not about looks, but in a way it is. I just didn't want those old valve covers in that car, so I was looking for a later model set, and I found some. Got these. Just do it up here. All right. So I picked up these aluminum ones, cast aluminum ones for 15 bucks. And I'm super happy with that. Now, I know they look a little rough. They're really really need a good cleaning. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do as far as a PCV system. I've done some reading, like when you convert a fuel injected 5.0 over to a carburetor, you know, what do you do as far as the PCV or crankcase ventilation? And some people just take the cap off, they'll plug this and just put a breather on here, and some people say that's fine, and other people say no, they get crankcase fumes, you know, under the hood, and so they'll install a PCV system, usually in the opposite, in the other valve cover they'll, you know, drill a hole and put in a PCV valve. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go that route. I think it'd work out best. One, I don't want a bunch of oil fumes and stuff floating around under the hood, getting it all nasty. I'd like to keep it as clean as possible. Another thing, this intake has got just these holes instead of like a normal, like a, say, an Edelbrock deal plane that's, you know, it's got the ovals, and the butterflies on the carburetor hit. So, which I think I am going to address this. I'm going to take this into work and put it on the mill, and I'm going to open this stuff up. But I was wanting to run a spacer, so I was thinking I get like say a 1-inch spacer, and then with a piece with a nipple for a PCV, and just anyway install a PCV valve and then run that hose over to that spacer. So I think all that will work out really good. Let's see. So the carb intake, headers, valve covers, the mufflers. Okay. Oh, and this one isn't about. Well, this is exterior. Put things over here. In part one, we were missing a passenger side mirror. Well, I found one on eBay. It is, and with shipping and everything, I got it for 30 bucks. So, hey, I was pretty happy with that. And it actually looks better than the one that came on the driver's side. So, anyway, I was happy about that. But, all right. Now, also, we loaded up a bunch of stuff off the car that we weren't going to need, and took it to the scrap yard. We took the rear wheels, and at the time, I'm trying to remember, I think aluminum wheels, I think we got 25 bucks a piece for those. So that was $50, and I think wheels were going 75 cents a pound, aluminum wheels, and then just regular clean aluminum, I think was 50 cents a pound. Anyway, so, you know, the intake on that was aluminum, and all in all, at the end of the day, it was $94 is what we got for everything. Now, I took the catalytic converters, but they wouldn't accept those. Not without the whole car. And I guess, you know, meth heads and stuff steal converters and then show up with a truckload of them, and anyway, cash in. But, you know, I explained I can't bring the whole car because we're making the track car out of it. But anyway, they just refused to take the converters. So, missed out on some money there, but oh well, I still got them. I'll find a place that'll take them, and we'll go from there. I mean, you know, I'll scrap them there. So, okay, let's recap. So, paid $500 for the car. The intake and the headers was $300. The valve covers was $15. Paid nothing for the mufflers. The carburetor was $25. The rebuild kit was $22. The diaphragm rebuild was $13, and the passenger side mirror was $30, minus the $94 that we got from the scrapyard, and that leaves us at a grand total of $811 so far. Is how deep we are in it. So that's not too bad. Now I got a really good friend that we got to go see him. He's probably an hour from us. That's got a lot of SN95 parts, and so we just got to make a plan one weekend to go up there and see him, and just bring some money with us and try to buy as much of that stuff off of them as we can, at least that we can use. But yeah, I guess that's it. So yeah, 811 all in, and then when I do a part 3, we'll do the floor. We'll get the floor fixed, and we'll get the frame rail fixed. Like I said, I just think that's going to be a long video, and I didn't want to do like the parts, what we've gotten, and then try to do that too. I just felt like we'd end up with an hour and a half long video or something. I don't know. I hope it's not going to be anywhere near that long, but it's going to be fairly involved because we're going to have to make stuff. Since you can't just buy a floor pan, we're going to have to make some stuff. So we're going to have to make it using a bead roller and stuff like that. So it should be a fairly involved project, at least, you know, for YouTube. Okay, well, I guess that's it. So yeah, so I'll see you on the next one.